Hey guys, welcome to another run of mine on D3D FR30 Stage 2. I wanted to redo this run because there's actually quite a few characters who can solo this stage, and Celes is one of those characters. In fact, she can solo this stage fairly easily. She can even do this without using any call abilities, but I gave her the Gladio call just really as a safety fallback. If you want, you can also give her something like a Cyan LD call, I guess, just for damage at 99% force bonus. You don't need any call to cleanse debuffs or dispel buffs. Next up, in terms of setup, it is very important. You need to remove all buff boost speed passive and shine age light. I will list the passives that I removed in the video description so you can check that out as well. Now at the start of the fight, do not use LD because the bosses are filled up with buffs, so none of Celes's debuffs can land. You don't have to worry about it. It looks a little bit dangerous because the bosses use a few dust storms here, but Celes can comfortably survive. I'm now eating 4 dust storms and she still has half her HP left, so you can very comfortably survive the dust storms attack. At the start, you can use 1 runic, 1 additional ability, and 1 shine age. These will be 3 actions, which would mean that Celes's debuffs will fall off after that. Next up, just use shine age whenever Celes gets her turn until the bosses are very close to 100% force gauge, like here. The moment the bosses are close to 100%, and you don't need to be extremely close, here I'm popping BT mode at 80%, so anything like 70% above is enough. But when they are close, you want to pop Celes's BT mode so that you get her BT aura up when the bosses enter Force Time. This is more to, we'll have to prepare for eventually Celes's Force Time, but the other half is to also get a bit of defense from her BT aura during the boss's Force Time. Make sure to use her LD, her force attack, her S1, her S2 and her EX. I guess this goes without saying, but you want to use all of those skills once so that you can refresh all of Celes's buffs and debuffs in one BT mode. So here the boss will enter Force Time, but you don't really have to worry about. The only effect or additional effect that the bosses have in Force Time is they gain an additional Dust Storm Plus as a follow-up attack. On top of this, the boss will also gain buffs and Celes will get debuffed, and while the buffs and debuffs are up, you won't be doing any Brave or HP damage at all because the boss will get 100% Brave and HP damage resistance like so. However, you don't have to worry about this. Celes is pretty much protected because all of the boss's attacks will be absorbed by Celes. So as you can see, you'll essentially be taking 0 HP damage as well. So this puts you at an impasse. However, the good thing is that some of the buffs and debuffs are speed up and speed down. So the bosses will get so many consecutive turns that their Force Time doesn't really last that long. So here is really just a waiting game until the bosses come out of their Force Time and the buffs and debuffs wear off. Boss is still in Force Time, so I just use a Shine Age here. The moment the bosses exit Force Time, go straight into Celes's Force Time. Do not do any other skills with her, because hitting any other button will give the bosses a big boost in their force gauge, and you really don't want that to happen because you need that bit of leeway for the later parts of the fight. Now this part of the fight I will speed up a bit because it is very straightforward. If you manage to come this far, the rest of the fight is a cakewalk. Now inside Celes's Force Time, there's a few things that you want to take note of. First off is the rotation. You do not want to spam Celes's LD too much because you do want to space out her LD use. Because her force attack already lands her traps, what you want to do is alternate between EX and LD. You will get a full EX meter after only one skill use. As you are alternating between EX and LD, you also want to pay very close attention to Celes's BT aura because it will wear off midway through. The biggest thing you want to prioritize is using her EX every time her EX is up. Use her EX even if it means Celes's BT aura falls off. You can just use her BT plus the next turn, and going a few turns without BT aura isn't a run ender here. The bosses are actually pretty much harmless at this point of the fight. So to recap, you want EX whenever EX meter is up. You want to use her LD if EX is not ready. And if her BT aura falls off, you want to replace one of your LD users with BT plus. Just stick with this rotation until the bosses hit 49% health. I will continue the commentary again at the 49% health point. You can also use the timestamp to jump ahead to that section of the fight. When you are close to 49% health, ideally what you want is to use Celes's LD here to bring the bosses to 49% health, because using her LD here will refresh her traps, and you do want to refresh her traps at this point. Alright, here we are at 49% health. At 49%, the same thing happens again. The bosses will buff themselves and Celes will get a bunch of debuffs. This is actually helpful. Why is that? Because one of the buffs that actually two of the buffs that the bosses get is speed up and turn rate up. So this actually means that they will get many more turns before Celes gets her next turn. The more turns that the bosses take here equates to more often damage that they take as well. So although you are pretty low on force time turns remaining, during this part of the fight, the bosses actually takes quite a lot of damage. And because they are taking so many turns in a row, the buffs that they grant themselves will fall off very quickly. The only remaining issue are the debuffs on Celes, but they last only for 3 turns, so they don't really last that long, and in any case they don't really impact the fight that much anyway. So really just continue your EX and LD rotation here. At 1 turn of Force Time remaining, obviously you want to use the Brother Summon for that sweet damage, and then use LD here to end Celes's Force Time. Coming out of Force Time, you have the remaining 5 turns in Summon mode to charge your Force Gauge. Do not use Runic here. Just alternate between Shine Age and EX. Do not use any more LDs as well, because you do need to save your remaining LD users for the later parts of the fight. Celes's Runic will fall off, but that doesn't matter. You don't want to use Runic here because instant turn abilities doesn't raise your Force Gauge that much. As you can see, just using Shine Age and EX gives you a full Force Gauge here. So what I do here is just use Runic once to refresh her Runic buff. I use the Gladio Call here for safety, but like I said, you don't need to. And then immediately go into Force Time with Celes once more. At this point, you are just continuing on with the rotation. Once more, the priority is on EX. Use EX whenever it's up, otherwise use her LD. If you are running very low on LD users, what you want to do then is use Shine Age sometimes instead of LD, and only use LD when Celes's traps are running really very low. At one point here, the bosses will be very low enough that you can actually just spam Runic to finish them off. At this point also, Celes doesn't have a BT aura up, but that's okay. Like I said, the bosses aren't really very threatening beyond their Force Time, and their Force Time is really only at the start of the fight. So here, even if you don't have BT aura up, don't worry about it. Celes will be able to tank all the attacks very comfortably. So that's it for this fight. As always, I hope the video has been helpful, and if you enjoyed the content, do leave a like, comment or subscribe. It really helps a lot. Till then, I'll see you guys in the next Shinryu fight. Bye!